All right, stock footage. This is a very requested video. So I'm gonna break it down because it can be very technical and very complicated. So I'm gonna go down the list of things you need to know to be successful in selling stock footage. The first one is the format. These agencies, for the most part, will accept MOV or MP4. This is the format of the videos they want. I use Final Cut Pro to export my videos. When I do these YouTube videos, I export them in Apple, to view in Apple devices. It saves space. This is not acceptable. It has to be MOV or MP4. You could download something like MPEG stream clip. It's completely free and it'll convert your videos to MOV. Now, the clip lengths, they have to be anywhere from 5 to 60 seconds. Remember, these are commercial videos, so somebody needs to use the beginning or the middle, or they can trim it however way they want to, but 5 to 60 seconds is what you need to do. Now, somebody asked me in the comments about the length, like is it better to have 30 seconds, 15 seconds? If you can loop it after 10 seconds, then leave it at 10. If you're telling a complete story and you need all 60 seconds, then leave all 60 seconds. But if you're looking at traffic on a bridge or something and after 5 seconds is boring, then you don't need to go more than 10. All right, the next point is file size. The maximum file size is 4 GB. That's why I export in MP4. They're compressed, they're smaller. Now, frame rates. What are frame rates? This is something that took me a while to understand. Frame rates are on your camera and on your editing software. When you choose your camera, you have many options. You can film at 23.98 frames a second or 24 frames a second. Almost the same thing. You could also choose 25 frames a second. Your phones do 30 frames a second or 60 frames a second. And there's so many. These are all the frame rates that are acceptable. For example, right now I'm filming at 24 frames a second. That's taking 24 photos and putting them all in 1 second. It's motion pictures. If I choose to film at 50 frames a second, that's double the amount of pictures in 1 second. So I could slow that down in post-processing. And the video will be half speed. My camera, my experience, I like to film at 24 frames a second to save space. If you shoot at 30, you're adding 60 more frames every second. That's gonna take more space. After 10 minutes, that's a lot of room. And this is where it's different than photos, because now you're choosing how you're gonna process that video and you have to choose wisely. So usually I start everything at 24 frames a second, and if I filmed at 60, I could slow it down to half or even more. 30 frames a second in a 24-second frame, it's 20% slower, 80% of the speed. So even if I film at 30 frames a second, I could play it at 80% speed on a 24 frame per second timeline. This is where you choose how you want to make that video. If I do 60 frames a second, I could slow it down 40% or down to 40% in my 24 frame a second timeline, and it'll be a slow motion video. If I film at 120 frames a second, my camera will save that as a file that's 29.97 frames a second. So I can even stretch that out even more, 80% slower or 20% slower, and have even slower frame rate because my timeline is 24 frames a second. I personally export everything slowed down. Somebody that wants to speed it up or slow it down, they can do that later. But I write down in my description or my title what frame rate that video was saved at or what it was originally. So if somebody wants to speed it up and double the speed to make it look normal, they can do that. Now, I know this is a little bit complicated, but when we open, whether it's Final Cut Pro or any other editing software, you choose the project that you want to do. So if I'm gonna film or I'm gonna export a final project at 24 frames a second, then that's what I'm going to choose. And then the video footage that I place in this timeline could be 24 frames a second, that's gonna give me 1 second. Could be 60 frames in 1 second, which is also gonna give me 1 second. But if I export it at 24 frames a second, that's it. You can't slow it down later because that's the final project. So if you want to slow it down from 60 to 24, you slow it down here in the timeline, and then you export a final video that's in slow-mo at 24 frames a second. I hope that makes sense. I know this is a little complicated, there's a lot happening, but I'm trying to break it down so you can see the different timelines and different speeds and how you can slow it down in post and then export a final video. If you don't want to slow it down, but you want to keep the 60 frames a second, then you start a new project that's at 60 frames a second, and you load your footage of 60 frames a second. If you did not film it at the right frames per second, when somebody tries to slow it down, it's gonna look choppy and they're not gonna buy it, they're gonna return it. So this is where this gets a little tricky. You have to match the timeline and your format to that of your camera to get the best out of your stock footage. Now, today, they're accepting vertical and horizontal. So if you're doing things for social media, you can do vertical and that could be perfectly acceptable. The same clip, if you have the camera, just flip the camera, film it again, horizontal or vertical. That'll give you more chances depending on the use of that clip. All right, now let's go over to resolution. This is another aspect to take into account when we're talking about stock footage. And these are all the ones that are accepted. 4K, you can see that there's a whole bunch of different sizes for 4K. That's because each camera does that differently. My phone will film in 4K and the format here is 3,840 pixels on the long edge by 2160. That's how many pixels make that video. When I choose a project on Final Cut Pro, it tells me what size I want, what dimensions I choose. With my camera, I like to film at 4,096 pixels all the way across by 2160 on this edge. So that's what I choose in Final Cut Pro. If I load a video from my phone, there's gonna be black bars on the edge because remember, the phone filmed at 3840, so there's gonna be a few pixels missing. You can crop or you can do a new video. When you crop, you're zooming in essentially and you're cropping that out of the way, so you're gonna take some from the top. You're gonna lose some pixels, so you're gonna lose a little bit of quality. For the most part, this is not a big deal, but depending on the quality of your footage, it's gonna be more noticeable. Usually, I crop down, I don't crop up, because that's zooming in. So if you crop the edges down, that's fine. But cropping to zoom in is gonna lose more quality. But remember, you wanna choose the dimensions of your project in Final Cut Pro or whatever editor to match the dimensions of your footage. Otherwise, you're gonna have black bars here or black bars top and bottom, depending on how you filmed. And like I said, there's a lot of different resolutions that are acceptable for stock. If you could do everything in 4K, that's great, but you don't have to. 4K seems to pay a little bit more, and it's usually has better quality than 1080 or even SD standard definition video. Now, if you do export stock footage with black bars, they're gonna get rejected. I did this at the beginning a lot too because my drone has different resolution than the camera and I wasn't taking that into account. So I was exporting footage that I was trying to crop and it had black bars and it always got rejected because it had the black bars on the edge. I know it's a lot of information, but just keep in mind the dimensions of what you're filming so that when you start a new project in whatever editor you're using, you can match the resolution to your device and also the frame rates to that device or the final use of that footage. All right, now if we're talking about a vertical video instead of horizontal, there's also sizes or resolution that's accepted. So 4K, my camera is just fine, I don't have to crop it. 2160 by 4096, that's 2160 by 4096, and that's acceptable to most stock agencies. You could also shoot HD. These here are the ones that are accepted. You have less options than horizontal, but again, vertical is just now taken off, so maybe that'll be more options later on. All right, now let's talk about codecs. This is hardware or software that compresses digital video to make files smaller and storage and distribution easier. It's hardware and software. So my camera will, or for example, my drone, I can select whether I want to film in H.264 or H.265. But now I need a software to process one or the other. H.264 is widely acceptable. H.265 is not as acceptable yet. Now that's my drone, H.265, H.264. When I do something with Final Cut Pro, which is how I process all my footage, all my stock footage, I have the option, and these are acceptable. Apple ProRes 422, Apple ProRes 422 High Quality HQ, 444, or 422 Lite. Codecs and all this is compression rates. So the higher the quality, the better you're gonna do. If you're gonna export in H.264, only export at best quality because you want most of that data in there. So if you can stick to H.264 high quality, or in my case, using Apple ProRes, then you should be good to upload to whatever agency you prefer. Whenever you export a video for stock, remove the audio. You can export without audio, or you can just drop the audio down in your timeline and remove any sounds whenever possible. The only time you're gonna use sound if it's an editorial video where you need the sound, or if it's high quality sound that recorded with that video that goes with it. If you're gonna be windy and that kind of stuff, then just don't export it, because that's gonna get your video rejected. Next is color space. Color space, Rec 709 is preferred. This is the standard for high definition video. I don't even mess with this. It's an option that's there and it's always ticked on, so I don't mess with it. But the color space, REC, so Rec 709, is the standard for HDTV, and it's identical to sRGB. All right, so now that's all the technical aspects of stock footage. Now, what video should you be making? The same things you do photographs of. Every video that I showed here as an example is something that I've uploaded as a stock footage, whether it's a beach, whether it's Bambi in a tent. I got pictures of her like that sell. Why wouldn't I do video? The handwritten notes, thank you notes that I sold, the pictures of writing those notes. I came back and did video, me writing those notes, because it has the same potential of selling. Concepts, just think about how that video could be used and then film it. Focus on the close-ups, even lighting a match could be perfect, good stock video. Well, I showed a while ago, I made a video for a coffee shop with the coffee in slow-mo and fog. That one sold a few times. The point is to do more. If you only have a cell phone, remember the quality in this sensor is not the best. If you only have a cell phone, focus on editorial stock footage. Focus on capturing daily activities out with good light. That's gonna maximize your potential on your phone. But literally anything can sell as stock footage, and it sells for more money than stock pictures. So take advantage of whatever situation you're in and film it. It's only gonna take a little bit more time. And if you wanna learn more about how to upload stock footage, watch the video I made last week. I'm gonna put a link right here. And thank you very much for watching. I hope this made sense. If not, let me know in the comments and I'll try to revisit and see if I can answer any of those questions. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Here's Bambi camping again just because I thought it was great.